This episode brought to you by Snow Days. Has there been white stuff falling from the sky for the last 3 days? Is it now blowing sideways and there's a negative 20-degree wind chill? Has the school called you and said, keep your kids at home, we are not teaching them today? Has your work called you and said, stay at home, we're not opening as well? Well, then you get a snow day. If it's unbearably cold outside and you do not want to drive your car, but you sure want some groceries, but they're closing the grocery store early tonight, then it is a snow day and you get to enjoy nothing. And then you have time to record podcasts or do whatever you want. Besides, of course, go outside unless you want your nose to freeze off. So don't waste any time. Get right on it. Scream Hannah the Human outside to your weather and get a snow day free on me. That's the promo code Hannah the Human.
Let's hit that theme song. Oh, nice. We're going for existential vibes. Hannah the Human. I can get down with it. Get down with it. Get down with it.
I know you've been on the edge of your seats since last week, wondering, did Hannah get to go sledding? Well, the answer is yes, I did get to go sledding because it snowed for real. Over a foot to be semi-exact. And it was actually so fluffy that me and my friend had to pack it down in order to sled down it. I mean, down the hill on the snow. It being the snow and then it being the hill. That was confusing, but basically you get the point. Fun day in the snow. Only for 30 minutes, though, because it's pretty cold. But I'm not going to talk about snow today. That's just our sponsor, or rather, Snow Days. Thanks to them, this podcast is being made available to you. I'm going to talk about something really important to me because we're continuing on with this theme, the origin story of me, Hannah the Human, and music is a big part of who I am, just like music, art, all of that. So I know you've all heard enough these last few episodes about religion and whatever, and so we're going to pivot to another topic that I am absolutely passionate about, and that is art and music. And by art, I mean, well, there's lots of different ways to define art. Let me look up the definition of it real quick. So I Googled it, and here's what pops up. Art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Another definition is the various branches of creative activity such as painting, music, literature, and dance. Well, there we go. That is what the definition of art is, according to the thing that popped up when I Googled art definition. That kind of describes it. I mean, that is what we use the word art for. For me, I use the word art to describe my relationship with beauty and my interaction with beauty. Beauty for me is that thing that makes you ache because it's so wonderful, and it just makes you happy, but in this deep, deep way that can also feel like pain. But it's like comforting at the same time because it's like being fully known within your pain. As you can see, we are diving in deep right away. So for me, art describes me interacting with beauty, the expression of beauty. Yeah, it's like this wrestling with beauty, asking questions, the beauty of that. For me, art is all about not giving answers. And that is kind of exactly opposite of the religious world I was raised in. You know, people go to church, people go hear sermons or get life coaching or go to a leadership development because they want answers, because they want keys to unlock success, to unlock a good life. They want to figure out what they need to do in order to get the life they want. And for me, art is the antithesis of that. It's basically saying, life, instead of figuring it out, I'm just going to live it and let the living define what living is to me, if that makes sense. Like, for example, me with this podcast. Some people think about what they want to say, or they have a point, and then they start talking. For me, I start talking, and then I discover the reason why I'm talking. Because that's art for me. That's what creativity gets to unlock. That's what's so wonderful to us about how children experience life, this wonder, this awe, this magic of it all, is they aren't asking, or they aren't coming to each day or experience or relationship with the idea of what it's supposed to be. They're actually interacting with the relationship, the day, the experience, whatever it is, and letting that interaction teach them about what it is they're interacting with and teach them about themselves. That's what kids do, Like, since there's a lot of snow around, I think about snow, I could sit there and be like, okay, what's the point of snow? Is it cold? Let me think about that. And there's a whole part of me that does that, especially around relationships. We will get into dating and all that another episode. But maybe. There's a huge part of me that wants to just analyze instead of experience. But I find the most freedom when I allow myself to experience. And then I do start to analyze my experience, and that can go poorly. But it can also, I don't know, it is what it is. But all that to say, I really like my life when I live from allowing experience to teach me what this is all about, instead of trying to figure out what it's all about and what the codes and keys and tricks are, and then do those. Because what I found is whenever I think there's a trick or a code or a key, it ends up backfiring on me. That's why I don't like living from that, because it backfires because life doesn't work according to how we define it. It doesn't work according to the rules. Like the universe has rules like gravity and whatever and a bunch of stuff that I don't know, but it all works together, right? And it's not because of me knowing it that it works. It's because it just is. And then I try to discover and figure out stuff so I can come up with all these rules. But at the end of the day, what's going to trump all my rules? How it actually is, how the world actually is, right? So that's why people are like, oh, the earth's flat, and you can believe that and then come up with a bunch of philosophy. I guess I shouldn't have picked this topic because people do still believe that the earth is flat. But just imagine those of you who might be listening who believe the earth is flat. Let's just pretend that it's not, okay? But anyway, we all believe it's flat for years and years and years, and then people discover, oh, wait, it's actually round. It was always round. It was never defined by our understanding. And so that's been my experience with life, is I get let down by myself, by people, by beliefs, when those beliefs suddenly aren't the way that it actually works, right? Like people a few hundred years ago were literally killing each other because somebody said the earth was round and they believed it was flat. So literally lives were at stake, and then it ends up not being true. I would rather be the person who says, you know what, I'm just going to kill my belief rather than stand firm on it so much even when life is screaming at me that it works the other way. So I'm kind of rambling at this point, but all this to say, you're kind of getting my energy behind art and why I love music and creative expression so much, because it's a way that I finally can switch off analyzing it all and just start living life and actually being with people and being in relationship and feeling my emotions and not judging things and actually getting in the dirt of life, actually getting to grow, actually getting to learn, actually getting to enjoy this experience. And yeah, so that is why I super love music, because when I write a song about something or I'm singing, I'm not thinking about how I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. And that is what I love about songwriting. And that for me has been what music is all about. So I'm throwing all these things out like, oh, I songwrite. What? Wait, what? And I mean, people who know me know this, but I'll just kind of explain where all this came from. So there I am, picture it, 6 years old. And we have some friends who are also neighbors. They live right down the street, and they're husband and wife, and she plays guitar and sings, and he plays drums, and they're involved in like the worship at the church that we were going to. So me and my twin sister Emma want to start learning music, and so we go over to their house, and the wife teaches me guitar chords, and the husband teaches Emma drum beats and things. And their names were Ricky and Nicole. So Ricky taught Emma drums. Nicole taught me guitar. And she was super cool because she encouraged me right away. Hey, write a song. There I am, 7 years old. I know 3 chords, D, G, and A, I think. And she's like, write a song. And I can still remember my 7-year-old song. And then we printed it out and we wrote the chords for it. You know, it was all official and everything. It was something like, I'm in your presence, Lord, I'm going home. It's like, I'm in your presence, I'm going home, or something like that, if I can kind of remember it. But it was a little kid voice. I'm in your presence, I'm going home. You know, that's me imitating me as a child. I think it's a very poor imitation, but you get the point. I'm adorable, and I'm literally writing this little worshipy song thing, just kind of repeating phrases about heaven and presence and words that I hear. But that kind of sparked early on the idea of songwriting. Like, it never was a big deal to me. Like, people are like, whoa, songwriting. It never was this scary thing. I think in a large part due to Nicole just making it like, of course you write a song. You know a few chords, write a song. Be creative. I love that she didn't have those limits and boundaries, and music wasn't about doing it all right in this kind of more classical, exact format, which, I mean, the weakness of me being kind of loosey-goosey in learning music is, yeah, I'm not as disciplined. I didn't come from a classical background where it's like, all right, and now we got to play with the orchestra, and I'm sorry, that B flat was a little flat. We need it exact. Thank you so much. You know, and the downside of me being more free in learning music is that I am kind of sloppier at playing my instruments and singing and stuff. But I love the pros, and that's why I do music the way I do it. I love the pros of being sloppy. I love the pros of not creating a big deal, of just letting it flow naturally, because that's what feels natural. So I do it. So anyway, let's go back to me, 6, 7 years old, learning guitar, and then we move. And so Nicole gives me some videos of this lady, I think, what was her name? Jean Wells or something. She was like this lady with, I think the videos are from like the 90s or something, 80s or 90s. She had like poofy, light brown hair and big round glasses, and she would teach guitar like she had, they were VCRs, she eventually upgraded to DVDs. Like, this is before you just went on YouTube, and I'm sure YouTube existed, but we weren't like technologically savvy. But also I think this was before YouTube really took off. So anyway, I would buy the Jean Wells DVDs or VCRs. I started out VCRs. Gosh, that's wild. And then DVDs. I couldn't even play a VCR now. I mean, I don't have a thing to play VCRs. What's that called? It's not a cassette. It's called a VHS. I don't know. Anyway, me and Jean Wells went all along great until 11 years old. I was just like, I'm bored of guitar. Like, I've been learning it a lot. I know all the chords, and I know some, little solos and a few scales and whatever. And it's just I was no longer getting better in leaps and bounds. It took a lot of practice just to get slightly better. And so I really wasn't motivated to learn more. Also, I think at 10 years old, I remember writing another song. What was that song about? I forget. I ended up doing a recording of it when I was 13. Anyway, so I didn't really write a ton of songs. It was just more like once in a very blue moon, every few years, I would write a song. And they were usually worship focused, because that's kind of the avenue that I played music at. I played on worship teams and first home groups and stuff, singing worship songs. And I also sang too. Nicole encouraged me way back when I was 7 years old. I remember I learned a worship song, and then I was really pushed and encouraged by her and led the song at the home group that we were all part of. And it was kind of scary, but it was also fun. So ever since I was little, I've just been singing in front of people. So that also hasn't been a super big deal either. Of course, I always get nerves and, excitement, but it never was this scary thing. It was just kind of a thing that I always did since I was little. And fortunately, nobody chewed me out and was harsh when that first time when I sang at the home group. So I was like, oh, people are nice. I have a great voice. Let's go. Turns out, my voice wasn't incredible, and I super appreciate my mom's brother, because I have two uncles, not obviously, but basically I have two uncles, my dad's brother and my mom's brother, and both of them are musical. My dad's brother lives in that Nashville area, and he's been involved in music. He once had a home recording studio and was like a producer full time, and he writes songs, and yeah, he's pretty cool. And so over the years, I've recorded at his home studio a few different things. And then I have my mom's brother, my other uncle, Chris. He played bass in a band that his friends were doing, and he kind of tried that for a year, and he's always been into music and songwriting and good lyrics and things like that. And I remember he had GarageBand on his Apple laptop, and they visited us one summer for a couple weeks, because they would usually come visit us every year because we lived far from them. And he encouraged me to just start recording stuff on GarageBand, and so he really encouraged me to start songwriting more, or not just songwriting, but expressing my creativity. And I started playing around, and I got GarageBand on my phone or computer. I had an iPod. Yes, I got it on my iPod, and so that was fun. That was when I was around 12 years old. So where was I? Oh, yes. So my Uncle Chris, who I've been talking about, because my Uncle Scott, who I call Sock, because when we were little, we couldn't pronounce Scott, so we were like, Uncle Sock, and then it stuck. Scott is out in Nashville, and Chris is out in California. So my Uncle Chris told me one time, well, how old was I? I think I was 16 or 17. He told me, yeah, if you're really gonna pursue music, your voice is not at the caliber. I was thinking of going to the internship and being part of their worship program. I ended up going to the internship, as I told you last episode, at this church that my uncle was going to, but I didn't be part of the worship thing. But basically, my uncle told me, you're not going to get accepted into this worship program with the quality of voice you have right now. And he said it really nicely, but also straightforward. And I got the point. So I started taking voice lessons. And that was, I think, 17? I think I was 17. And I started taking voice lessons with this lady who was a friend of a friend. And in a few months, she was like, I kind of taught you all I know. She just kind of sang, not professionally, but, she had taken voice lessons and stuff as a kid and sang in the Philharmonic Orchestra in Reno. And actually, she encouraged me to audition for the Philharmonic chorus in Reno. And so I did, and I made it as a soprano too. And that was really fun because I kind of know how to read music, but not that great. And so I was sort of a fish out of water with all these people who could just look at a sheet of music and la 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 sing along. And I had to really practice and it upped my game, but it was super fun to be singing with an orchestra. It was fun. We did, was it 2 or 3 live performances, but that was super fun because I hadn't been involved at all in classical music, and so it was amazing getting to be around all these incredible singers and musicians. And yes, it was just so fun sitting there in my black outfit, in the back, and standing up and singing and watching the conductor. I didn't really know how to follow a conductor, but I had learned my music and we had practiced so many weeks, so that was super fun. But anyway, I'm kind of jumping ahead. So I'll just finish talking about my voice lesson experience. So then basically I found my parents and I found this voice teacher in Reno, Nevada, which is, I was like 45 minutes from there. This is when we had moved back to California and we're in the High Sierra Desert area. And so I went, was it twice a month, I think? Every other week, yes. I would drive into Reno. My parents would drive me into Reno, and I would take a voice lesson with Cammie Thompson, and she's this jazz singer and had a ton of experience, and so she was a professional voice teacher. I really learned a lot from her, especially about breath support, and I got serious into practicing. I mean, almost every day I was doing my breathing exercises and my scales and these different things that she told me to practice. Maybe I was even going once a week. Anyway, but it was like serious and it was expensive, and I really appreciated my parents paying for that. And then later on, I started taking voice lessons with this lady named Laura who lives in the Bay Area in California. She would give some voice lessons to the worship leaders at the church I was interning at down there. And then I kept doing those voice lessons with her because she does them online. So as I've moved and everything, I can do voice lessons with her via Skype, and she's amazing, incredible. Like, she has unlocked a ton in my voice that it's just given me so much confidence. Kind of nerding out here for a moment. Basically, her big thing is she really helps me know how to registrate my voice naturally, which means I'm not like trying to sing really high and pull up. Chest voice, basically, chest voice is like how I'm talking to you. You can feel, if you put your hand on your chest, you feel the resonance, like your chest is resonating from your voice. But then if you talk really, really high up here in a falsetto voice, you don't feel it in your chest. So basically there's chest and then there's head, and somehow you've got to learn how to bridge that gap. And what Laura has really taught me is that the body naturally knows how to do that. You just have to let it do that. You have to let go of all these stylization things and these habits you pick up to deal with the difficulty of trying to bridge that gap. And so now I have a lot more strength in my mid-range. And yes, Laura is just amazing. And I'm still taking voice lessons with her. I took a break for like a year and a half at least. And then last month I reached back out to her because I want to get back into doing some live gigs and stuff. And so I took a voice lesson with her, and I'm going to try to do them like once or twice a month. I need to reach out to her, but money's a little tight because of all these wonderful snow days. So I'll probably, and I've been traveling and all this stuff. So I'll text her and do a voice lesson probably next month or something. But she's super amazing, and what's awesome is the way that she does it is I record my lesson with her, and so then I can keep every day practicing these vocal exercises that we do during the lesson to focus on whatever we're trying to strengthen in my voice at that lesson. And so that's super awesome. Anyway, out of this little rabbit hole of voice lessons, because I absolutely love the voice and it's such an art form and I truly love it. Like, that's one thing I am pretty dedicated about practicing. I practice, I really want to become a good vocalist. Like, that's my goal. I'm not as, like, yes, I love piano, but I'm not over here like I tried taking lessons and stuff. Oh dear, I'm jumping around. Because basically, what we last left off, I was learning guitar, but we always had a piano at the house. And so a friend showed me about when I was 8 or 9 years old what chords were on the piano. And then I would bang the chords out and sing along to worship songs and stuff. And by banging, I mean I literally banged. I mean, I love banging on that piano. And it was a joyful noise for sure. But I kind of started learning basic music theory from that. And I would just look up online stuff. I remember like going on Wikipedia, learning about chords and progressions and things like that, and different music theory stuff and what different keys were, and all inspired by this friend of ours, Jolene, who taught me the basics. Was like, this is a chord, this is a scale. If you play anything within the scale, it'll sound good for the key that you're in, and basics like that. So that boosted me to start pursuing piano. But then I got really serious about piano when I woke up one day. I think I was 12. So this was after I was 11 and had been like, I'm done practicing guitar. So I still played guitar, but I wasn't like practicing every day and trying to get better. I was just more maintaining and strumming around and having fun. And then one day, I can't remember what, I feel like I just woke up one day and knew I have to learn piano. That's my thing. And I'm going to go around the world and play piano someday. So time to learn. And so I practiced for 3 years straight. I practiced every day, not every day. I think it was 6 days a week. I would teach myself piano. Basically, my mom had these little piano books left over from when she was a girl, because she learned piano from a piano teacher growing up. So she could read music and stuff. So she taught me like the basics of that. And then once I knew how to read music, although I'm super clunky at it, it was enough that I could work my way through these piano books and learn piano. And my goal was to be able eventually to play a classical piano piece. I super loved this one by Chopin. It's called the Raindrop Prelude in D flat major, and it's beautiful. You all need to listen to it, okay? I'm going to repeat that again for you. Pause this after I say it and go to Spotify and type it in, and then keep listening to me, but then you'll have that saved so you can listen to the Raindrop Prelude once you're done listening to me. It's the Raindrop Prelude D flat major by Chopin. That's Chopin. Yeah, it's like, I forget, what was he, French or Italian or something. Basically, that's why his name was that. Sounds weird to us English-speaking people, but that's how you say it. Not Chopin. It looks like Chopin, but it is not Chopin. It is Chopin, I think. Anyway, because, funny side note, even though I didn't learn music from a classical background, meaning like classical music is the stuff with the orchestras and, you know, where it's like super rigid practicing and you practice for 2 hours a day and it's intense and it's like a part-time job to be excellent at the instrument. And there's all these intricate things like when you breathe and how you hold your hands and all this stuff. Even though I didn't learn instruments from that perspective, I grew up listening to classical music. That was part of the schooling that my mom had us do in homeschool. We would, each like semester of school, we would focus on a different classical artist, like songwriter, basically, and like Bach and Mozart and Beethoven and Chopin and Debussy and all these people, and we would listen to their music. And so I listened to a lot of classical music, and although I didn't play it, because it's really difficult to play, like you have to be good at your instrument. So I finally was able to play. After 3 years of practicing 6 days a week, I was able to play the Raindrop Prelude, and then I stopped practicing because, man, it's a lot of work. And that's when I got into, I was already into this Christian artist from the 70s and 80s named Keith Green. He's like, was kind of the pioneer of contemporary Christian music. So it was like fun and groovy and chord-based, and meaning like it wasn't classical style music, you know? And so I would have fun playing those songs. That would be kind of my fun outlet as I'm practicing piano. So then after 3 years, age 12 to 15, I practiced piano diligently. I achieved my goal and then quit practicing so diligently. Of course, I kept playing piano, you know, so I maintained my skill, but I wasn't getting better. Because it takes a lot of work and discipline to get better once you're decent at something, you know? Like, it's easy to notice growth and improvement when you're terrible at an instrument and then you practice for a bit and suddenly you're like, whoa, I'm no longer terrible. But then it's such a fine line between good and then better and then excellent. Like, you have to put in a lot of work just to move to those levels, and it doesn't sound much different or feel much different. So for me, it's highly unmotivating. So that's why you see this pattern in my life of I reach kind of an intermediate level and then I stall. But hey, that's what I do. And that's why I'm proud of myself learning voice, because I don't want to stall. I want to keep getting better. And I really love the voice because it's an instrument within me. So it's so connected to my soul and the just organicness of creativity. It's literally an instrument inside me. So cool. So I absolutely love that aspect of the voice. And I just love that I have my voice wherever I go, you know? I don't always have a guitar, and especially not a piano with me wherever I am, but I always have my voice. And so it's just a beautiful relationship with the instrument that I have within me. And so that's why I love continuing to get better and continue to get more confident in that. I also used to think, like, I never thought that my voice sounded beautiful. Like, I always thought, no, I'm just decent, like I can hit notes. But now a lot of people tell me they really like the tone of my voice, and listening to my voice, I actually have moments where I hear, wow, no, the tone of my voice and just how it sounds is really beautiful. And I attribute that a lot to the work I've done with my vocal coach teacher, Laura, because she's enabling me to let go of certain stylizations and stuff and just let my pure voice come through. And you know what? It's actually beautiful. So I want to keep getting better at my voice, getting more confident, more versatile, so I can sing all the different styles of music that I love. Blues, jazz, musical theater, pop, rock, all of it. Country. That's my latest thing I'm into. I'm really into country music. Ever since I went down to Tennessee for the winter and started line dancing and going to bars and being around country music, I was like, this is fun and I so relate to it. I just need a warm hug from a beer in a truck and a cute guy. Country music is pretty comforting. Like, as long as your goals in life are to have some kids, be a good person, and have fun along the way, then country music just encourages you to chase after your dreams. If your dreams aren't beer, trucks, family, church, and being outside, then it won't encourage you to chase your dreams as much, because clearly that's all it's about. No, but country music actually is pretty cool. It has a lot more depth than I thought. And although I don't like all country music and all country singers, some of their voices do still annoy me. I do love country music, and I relate to it a lot, you know? So I play it a ton now. And I kind of want to write songs more in that style, meaning the thing that I like about country music songwriting is it's so, like, it's like a well done pun. Like, for example, Blake Shelton has this song called Bible Verses, and in it says, I just want it to be like Bible verses and not the Bible versus me. So good, right? And then there's this other song called One by One, and it's like, there's a 4x4 sitting out the drive. Looks a whole lot better with your hand in mine. This house is more than 2x4s. It's you by me on the back porch. Like, do you see all that little pun kind of metaphor, beautiful stuff? It's really actually cool. And then I really got into Dolly Parton too, because I never related to her, because I just would hear things or see pictures of her, and she's a style that is really dolled up and fake looking, and I don't relate and resonate with that look. I'm kind of a less makeup sort of girl. But I started listening to interviews, and I realized Dolly is like, I can relate to her so much, because she's being herself, even when that's not actually what people wanted her to look like, you know? Looking like her hometown prostitute was not the vibe that her parents, that her church, that her community, even that the music industry wanted. But she did it and literally made the industry change what it thought about how she dressed by just sticking with her guns and doing what she felt authentic to do. And that resonated with me. And so I just started listening to a bunch of Dolly Parton music and interviews, and she's got some great songs. She's a great songwriter and singer, obviously. So yeah, music. That's kind of how I got to be where I am. Oh my gosh, I didn't tell you about my songwriting. Wait, how long have I talked here? I feel like I've been talking a long time. Well, I think I have a little bit more time. Literally, I have all the time in the world. I could keep talking. I just don't know if you guys want to hear me keep talking. But the good thing is, if you don't, then you can just end the episode. So I'm going to keep talking. Because who's got the mic? I've got the mic. And also I, editing Hannah, have got the mic. And I'm tired of hearing you talk, Hannah. So I am stopping this episode right here. And I'm going to play the rest of what I recorded in next week's episode. We're going to talk all about the songwriting process. Ooh, it's going to be a good one. Honestly, though, it is. Not to spoil anything, but just to leave you on the, cliffhanger. Basically, I go through the process of how I wrote my hit song, Cowboy Hat. It's not a hit because I haven't released it, but trust me, if I get famous off of anything, it'll be Cowboy Hat. I love that song. And like 3 other people have also said they enjoy it. So basically, it's famous. And you'll get to experience what it was like for me writing the song as I explain songwriting because I'm an expert on that. Not really, guys. That was sarcastic. Explaining that for all the other Hannahs out there in the world who just don't get a joke until it's explained to them a lot of times. Anyway, back to me singing. I went and rummaged up a recording that I recorded when I was 13 years old at my Uncle Scott's home studio, a recording of the song I wrote when I was 10. And the song is called How Long, performed by Hannah and Emma Doda. Hannah on guitar and vocals, Emma on cajon and shakers.
Promises in the mist that I've seen before. God, it comes down to I just want more. And God, how long till I'm satisfied? And God, it's only in you that I can be satisfied. And God, how long until I'm satisfied? Well, one day the snow is falling, reminds me that peace is ongoing. Another day, the sun shines down on me. These are the hints of eternity. And God, how long till I'm satisfied? And God, it's only in you that I can be satisfied. And God, how long till I'm satisfied?
Well. First off, what stands out to me is, gosh, at 10 years old, why was I asking God how long until I'm satisfied? Like, that's a little concerning. But anyway, also just adorable, so cute. I did cut the song in half because, it just didn't need to be that long. But you get the gist. And can we just applaud my twin sister, who was also 13 years old, for her amazing cajon work and interpretive shaker work. She's actually really good at drums. The quality and consistency of her shaker work on that song does not adequately express her absolute genius on percussion. But, we were 13 years old. Glad that I pulled that out of the archives, found the CD, literally a CD, and I burnt the songs back onto my computer, and voila, now I have these MP3 versions of 13-year-old Hannah and Emma singing their little hearts out. So yeah, there we go. That was the third song I wrote at 10 years old there. So as you can tell, a true genius, and also concerningly semi-depressed. But maybe that's what all songwriters are. Anyway, on that happy note, I remind you once again to go, please find Chopin's Raindrop Prelude. Google it, do whatever you need to do to listen to Chopin's Raindrop Prelude in D flat major. Peace out.